Hello and welcome to Crooked Letter Sports Podcast, a show about Mississippi sports and the folks who play them. I'm Tyler Cleveland, joined as always by my co-host and dad, Rick Cleveland of Mississippi Today fame. And today a special guest joining us for the entire show, our good friend Rod Walker of NOLA.com, Saints reporter and columnist, and does a little bit of everything for him down there. Rod, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on. It's always good to be on with you too. So I appreciate the invite.
Well, you're one of our returning champs and favorite guests. Rod wrote a pretty salient story, a column on Saturday that ran Saturday, saying that if Dennis Allen would like to keep his job as the Saints coach, it would behoove him to win Sunday at Carolina. The Saints blew a lead there, and the Saints ended up parting ways with Dennis Allen after, 3 seasons? Was that right, Rod? 2020.
This is year 3 for him.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the Saints are in the market for a new head coach, something we thought might happen after. I didn't think it was going to happen after that 2-0 start. I'll be honest with you. They look pretty damn good. Rod, kind of help us. What happened since then?
It's crazy, man. I mean, those first 2 games, we all thought Clint Kubiak could have run for governor of Louisiana after that. He's a new offensive coordinator, and they scored 91 points in those first 2 games, beating Carolina and Dallas. And man, this city was just buzzing, and then all of a sudden the wheels fall off. It started with a bunch of injuries, I think. I mean, that kind of really set the team back. Eric McCoy got hurt when they kind of started off. Then they were unable to run the ball, and once they were unable to run the ball and got into a lot of third and long situations, and the offense just no longer was clicking, and then injuries started piling up, and eventually the players, I think Dennis started losing the locker room, man, and you could really see it Sunday after the Carolina game. There were like players on Twitter, like just kind of, I don't know, I've never seen anything like it, like with NFL players. I mean, they were just kind of tweeting out stuff about the situation, and you could just tell that the locker room was probably lost at that point. And even if they weren't going to fire him after that game, I think that was kind of like it was just like too much. Like you could just tell that the team was not recovering from it. I mean, they lost to the worst team in the NFL, and just a bunch of ugly losses that piled up. I mean, they lost to the Broncos game. Denver wasn't great. I mean, Bo Nix couldn't, he was really inaccurate that game. And so, I mean, just a lot of bad losses piling up.
Rob, Tyler and I joke about it. It's not really funny. Our 2 teams that we pull for, professional teams, are the Braves and the Saints. And both of them have been totally just decimated by injuries this year. With the Saints, I'm not sure which one hurt worse, but I'm not so sure it wasn't the center that they lost.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge loss for this team. I mean, Eric McCoy obviously he plays a position that doesn't get talked about a lot, but I mean, he's one of the best in the league at it. And once he went down, I mean, that was basically like the start of when things started falling apart. He went down the first drive of the Eagles game, which was the 3rd week of the season, and they just have not been the same since. And that was the beginning of the downfall right there. I mean, and, he'll be back maybe in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But I mean, once he went down, they started having a lot of problems on the inside. And then Cesar Ruiz, who plays guard right beside him, went down. And yeah, it was just that was the beginning of it.
But
because at the beginning of the season, they could run the ball so well, and it made things easier. And once that stopped, I mean, it was kind of downhill from there.
Yeah, I thought they just controlled the line of scrimmage. The offensive line was just blowing everybody away. I mean, Kamara was getting 4 yards into the secondary before he got touched,
Right. And that was a surprise for us because, I went out to training camp in Irvine, and the whole offseason, our biggest concern was the offensive line. We just didn't know if they were going to be able to hold up. And they came out those first 2 games and just surprised everybody and just weren't able to continue that. And then the injuries started, and then the defense started having these issues, couldn't tackle, giving up those big plays. And they were just finding ways to lose, which is what bad teams do. And I don't know if it's really just one thing. I think this is one of those teams and I think it was Dennis Allen's, probably the thing that hurt him the most is, I don't know if he's as detail-oriented as Sean Payton was. So, you have the false starts and these penalties, and, those things add up. I mean, and you get enough of them, and that's how you lose games, and that's what they were doing. I don't know if he held players accountable. I mean, DA was a guy. I mean, have you ever seen DA like just chewing a player out for messing up? Probably not, because he's just such a nice guy. But I don't know if I think he wanted the players to like him. He was a former coordinator. That's kind of how coordinators can be sometimes. And I just think all of it ended up catching up with him at the end. And I mean, this is his second job losing, and he lasted basically 2.5 seasons in both of those jobs. So great coordinator, but just probably not quite cut out to be a head coach.
Man, let's talk about the decision to move on when they did. It never made sense to me to fire an NFL coach in the middle of the season because it's not like you're worried about losing recruits. You know what I mean?
Right.
I guess, is that just kind of telling the fans we hear you or we care? I mean, at this point, I don't know why you do that in the middle of the NFL season. And usually they kind of wait till the end of the year. Why do you think they decided to pull the trigger now?
Yeah, because even in my column, I said if he loses this game, he would be out of a job. But I didn't really know if they would do it immediately. I just thought there was no way he can come back next season if he lost the game. I just didn't see it. So, I mean, I even put a poll out on Twitter, you think they'll do the move? Will they make the move right now? Will they wait until after the bye? Because they have a bye they have 2 more games in the bye. I said maybe they do it then. It gives you a little bit time just to kind of get acclimated to wherever you're going to move up. Or do you wait to the end of the season? And, I think it was kind of more of a move from the business side. They knew that, they played the Falcons Sunday. The Dome was going to be empty. Falcons fans probably would have just taken the Dome off because fans are fed up, man. Sunday was just the nail in the coffin, I feel like. And the only way you're going to get those fans to come back and support this team was to make some kind of move. And to make a move, I think they just had to do it. It's like, why are we waiting? The season's, you're not making the playoffs at this point. So, you just do something, try to at least show the fans that, okay, we do care and we're going to do something about this. And I guess it kind of gets you ahead of the coaching search. The Jets are looking and the Saints are looking. And, I don't know who else will be looking when the season's over, maybe the Cowboys or Jaguars maybe, but Saints are out there now. So
sounds like the usual suspects looking for coaches.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the special teams coach who got the job.
Okay, Darren Rizzi, he's special teams coordinator. He was promoted to assistant coach. He had that title, I guess, back in 2022. So he's also there. But I think he's going to be a guy. He has a lot of energy. It's kind of like your typical special teams coaches can be. And the players really like him. And he's not a guy who just, and this is one of the things that Tyrann Mathieu talked about yesterday, that Darren Rizzi is a guy that he doesn't just talk to the special teams guys. He has a connection with all the players. So he's going to bring them some energy that they needed at this point. He's a guy that he applied for the Dolphins job in 2019 when he was on their staff. They ended up hiring Brian Flores that year. He applied for this job when Dennis Allen got it, back in 2022. So he has head coaching aspirations, and, this is kind of like an audition for him as well. But and the Saints are a team that kind of like to keep it in the family, and they like to hold on to that Drew Brees, Peyton era, and Sean Payton's the one who hired Rizzi, and I think that's something the Saints probably need to get away from. You got to let it go at some point, right? You can't just keep holding on to those glory years and thinking that it's going to sustain. But I think he's going to do. They're not going to quit on him. They're going to be passionate. They're going to try to come out and play well. But this team just, at some point, this team is the record is is what it says you are, and I think this is a 2-7 team for a reason.
Yeah, let's talk about holding on because it feels like that's what the Saints have been doing for a while. At what point or what would have to happen, do you think, for them to blow it up? Or try to rebuild, and start from scratch because it's. I think they've been kicking the can down the road, salary cap wise, for a long time. And, they go after pick their spots where they can sign big free agents and try to keep this thing afloat. But it just has not worked for some time. And, at some point, the way the league works and the setup, you kind of have to go into a bust cycle. Or do you foresee them doing that anytime soon? Or is it, we're going to hang on for a little bit longer here?
And that's a good question. I think they – I think we'll have a better idea that when they hire this next coach. When they bring in somebody who's with a strong personality, that's a coach that could. I'm just gonna say Belichick, just somebody who might want to get back into coaching. But do you bring in that kind of strong personality, or are they gonna try to keep? Rizzi's a candidate. There's Aaron Glenn, who's a defensive coordinator at Detroit, who was on this staff. I mean, if you do that, that means you're probably still trying to, keep those ties. So I don't know. I don't know if the front office is ready to move on from that Sean Payton era yet. I think they just, for whatever reason, they feel like they're right there, and they're not right there.
No.
I mean, at some point, you just, like I said, you got to let it go at some point. But they're in a bad division for the most part. Well, the Falcons are improved this year, but I think when you're in a division like that, you always think, oh, we can win this division. We just get a couple players, we stay healthy, we can probably win this. But this roster is getting older, and you mentioned the salary cap situation. I mean, they've been able to to get through it, but they're getting older and not better. They failed in the draft. They haven't done well in the draft in the past few years. I mean, I guess Alontae Taylor's probably the best player they drafted in the last 2 or 3 years. So they just haven't. They've done a lot of things that just haven't worked out. And I think Drew Brees covered up so many of the team's flaws over the years, and it's finally catching up with them, I feel like.
Well, they it feels like they've been in win now mode for 15 years, and I mean, I guess that makes sense when you were in lose now mode for the first 40 or whatever.
Right. Right.
But I mean, I just don't know how long they can hold on with that.
I think part of the problem is even this year. I mean, they're 2-7 now. They usually find a way to they'll probably rally now and let's say they get to 6 or 7 wins, and then you're drafting in the middle of the first round when
again.
Right. I mean, this team needs to be getting like a top 5 draft pick. They need to draft a quarterback and get somebody you can build a franchise around. They just haven't done that. They've been mediocre when they probably need to just let's be bad this year.
It seems to me the first decision that they got to make, and maybe it's with whoever the head coach is going to be in mind, is about Derek Carr. Is he the guy? I'm not so sure he is. What do you have any thoughts?
I mean, it's a lot like what we said about, like, when you think about Dennis Allen. I mean, he just hadn't been the guy, and Derek Carr has been, he'll put up some numbers, some decent stats, some games, but I don't know if he's like that winning quarterback that you need to get you where you're trying to get to. I mean, I don't know if he's that guy. Super nice guy, but yeah, I mean, he hadn't got it done. I mean, this has kind of been the story of his entire career. I mean, it's not like this is something new and you just put it on the Saints. I mean, this is kind of the same things you saw when he was with the Raiders.
You hear coaches talk about all the time about quarterbacks, whether or not they have the it factor. There's no doubt he has the arm. I mean, he can make the throws. But boy, if the protection breaks down and everything, it's just not there.
Yeah, I mean, he panics a little bit. If you put some pressure on him, he's going to make some mistakes, and we've seen it time and time again. So I don't know. I mean, I think he was Dennis Allen's guy. I mean, this is who Dennis Allen wanted. He brought him in, last year, and it just hadn't really worked out. I mean, he's been okay at times, but nothing that you feel that looks promising for the future. I mean, I think this team needs to draft a good young quarterback. I mean, they drafted Spencer Rattler in the 4th, 5th round, whatever it was, and Jake Hayner last season. But I mean, those guys we saw Spencer Rattler. I mean, he showed some flashes here and there, but those guys are probably like some good backup quarterbacks. But I don't know if they're going to ever be a guy that's going to lead you to the playoffs. I mean, they just don't. And I mean, they're young in their career. I mean, they could, but they need to draft a really, really solid quarterback. Something they haven't really done. So,
yeah. How many years and how much money have they got that they can't get out of with Carr?
They're gonna. I don't have the figures in front of me, but I know with Carr, I mean, they're gonna probably need him to, try to help them out with some kind of team-friendly deal next year to save them some money. And they're going to have a lot of guys that, they're like way over the cap for next year. They're going to need they're going to restructure some contracts. But I mean, they've been kind of doing that, kicking the can down the road, and it just hadn't paid off for them. I mean, they thought, everybody was like, oh, they're so smart with the salary cap, but the results say otherwise.
Yeah, they are aging. I keep wondering how long our buddy Demario Davis can keep playing at the level he's playing at. It seems like he's found what Ponce de Leon was looking for when he came.
Yeah, he's been solid. I mean, he had the big pass interference penalty in the game. He also had a face mask, I think, early. But I mean, he's been pretty reliable. I mean, his career really took off when he got to New Orleans, and now he's all of a sudden a guy that he's one of the best linebackers in the league. And if he was still in New York or Cleveland, we may not even know who. We would know, but I mean, the rest of the country would know who DeMario Davis was. So credit to him for making that move. I mean, he's probably outside of Drew Brees. I don't know if the Saints have ever had a bigger free agent signing, but they haven't been able to sign any really high-profile free agents. Like, I mean, Chase Young, they signed him this offseason. We thought he was killing it at training camp, but this season he hadn't really been that guy. So they need to hit the jackpot on the draft or free agency or something soon, because if not, this roster, Cam Jordan's getting old. I mean, he's probably, if this is his last season, I would imagine next year will be his last one. Tyron, obviously, is getting older in his career. So, I mean, it's getting to that point where they got to do better in the draft and free agency.
Absolutely.
Rod, we got a lot going on in Mississippi sports this week outside of the Saints. We need to get your take on some of these games, and you as well, Rick. We got moving on from that. We got obviously the big game is in Oxford this weekend in the SEC. Georgia and Ole Miss. Georgia 7-1, Ole Miss 7-2. Feels like a must-win game for Ole Miss to keep their playoff dreams alive. We'll start with you, Rod. What do you think? I think Georgia's a 2.5-point favorite. You give the Rebels a chance?
I do, man. I think even going to the season, I thought this was a game that Ole Miss would win. I actually thought Ole Miss might be undefeated at this point. I thought they'd beat LSU. I thought they'd beat Kentucky as well. But I thought what Ole Miss did last week when they went up to Fayetteville was really impressive. With Trey Harris, I mean, if he's healthy, I think this team has a real chance. I think they have a chance to win this game. I just think the atmosphere is going to be crazy. Are you going up? Y'all going up? You going up, Rick?
Still considering.
Rick loves his couch, man.
You'll figure it out one day.
I'm the same way.
I mean,
I'm the exact same way now.
Yeah.
If I can sit on the couch on a Saturday, I'd much rather do that.
Yeah, it's a lot of and really now with the access you have, it's not that much different.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm still debating. It's going to be. Here's the deal on that. You're going to have to get there 3 or 4 hours early, and you're not going to get out of there for a while either.
Right. Yeah. But I think they have a really good chance. I think it's going to be electric up there, man. I mean, it always is for a big game, but I think this one. I mean, this is basically a playoff game for Ole Miss. I mean,
yeah, I think it is a playoff game, and even if they win,
right,
they got to run the table, and they still got to get help.
Right.
I think it's a playoff game for Georgia, who's sitting there with one loss, and if they lose to Ole Miss and both finish with 2 losses, and only one 2-loss team gets in, it ain't going to be the team that loses this game.
Right.
I'm pretty excited about it. Do you? And I feel like going back to the Alabama Georgia game, which was a hell of a football game. I think Alabama kind of gave people the blueprint. It's just whether you can execute or not. I mean, they struggle with switches on defense. It looks like, and I think Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin probably saw that tape. So I give them a fair shot.
Oh, I think it's a toss up. I think you can flip a coin. If you're asking me, the key of the game, it's whether Ole Miss can run the ball well enough to keep and block the edge, because that's where Georgia. Kirby knows what. I mean, Kiffin's the offensive genius. Well, Kirby's the other side genius, and I don't know. It's a great matchup.
It is a great matchup. I think if I hadn't watched Ole Miss play last week, I'd probably be. I just thought they finally came together and played really well last week. So, I mean, we saw what Arkansas did the week before in Starkville. So I was just really impressed for them to go on the road and win like that.
The other big game, Mississippi State's at Tennessee this weekend. That's going to be Tennessee's a tough out at home this year. They're a 24-point favorite over Mississippi State. I know which way we would all pick on this one. I'll just say, is there any chance State covers?
Who did Tennessee play last week? I got to see how flat they might be, or maybe they.
They're not very flat. They're 7-1 and ranked 7th in the country. They beat Kentucky 28-18 last week.
They struggled a little bit with Kentucky.
Yeah, they've struggled. They'll be sharp this week, I imagine. And They play Georgia, I think, coming in the next.
They
few
do. They
weeks
play
after.
Georgia next week at Georgia.
All right, so I mean, they could be flat there looking ahead, but yeah, I'd expect Tennessee to cover.
Yeah, honestly, the reason I asked is Tennessee's one of those teams. You look at their last couple of games; they lost just in November or just in in October. They lost to Arkansas by 5. They beat Tennessee by 7. They beat Alabama by 7. They beat Kentucky by 10. And they've been playing pretty close games, so I give the Bulldogs kind of a chance there. Again, they just got to run the football. The other big one close to you, Rod, the Alabama LSU game. I'm sure everyone in Louisiana is pumped about this. I think Alabama's a 3-point favorite at Death Valley at night. How do you feel about that one?
Well, the last part that you said is that's why I give LSU a chance, because just some crazy things really happen when they play at night, and Ole Miss could, they can attest to that. And I lean towards Alabama, though. I'm still not as sold on LSU as most people are. So I just think Alabama will probably find a way to win. I don't know. What'd you say is a 3-point?
Yeah, Alabama's a 3-point favorite right now.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be quite that close, but that's just kind of my thoughts. I just think Alabama's.
I still think
Alabama. Well, they both coming off a bye week. I just think Alabama will be really prepared for this game. I think they're probably better.
I still think Alabama might be the best team in the league. I really do. I mean, I don't. But we'll see. I have one question for you back to Mississippi State, because everybody's asking me this. You're a state grad. You've been in Mississippi most of your life. You followed state close. Have you ever seen a state defense this bad?
I don't think so. I know there were some Jackie Sherrill teams that were, I don't know if they were bad. They were like, those toward the end when they were like so undisciplined. They had all the penalties and all that stuff. But as far as just like missed tackles, missed assignments, I don't think I have. And it's hard to watch, man. Like it's brutal, and I hope they can get things turned around. But in this NIL era, I don't know. I think it's gonna be tough, man.
I think Jeff Lebby is a really good football coach, but what you mentioned, NIL, he's got to get the players. Right. They had that one-time donation of $8 million, which is strictly meant for an anonymous donation of $8 million. That'll get you, 8 good players. I don't know if that's enough.
They might get you only 4 good players now, Rick. Yeah. For $2 million each.
Well, I gotta ask y'all, since I've got you both here. Did you see the story last week where the kid was typing out his decommitment from Mississippi State in the stands at the state game when they fell behind 10-0 early?
I saw it, and I didn't know who the guy was. I saw it on Twitter. I had to send to some of my state buddies, but I mean that was.
Yeah, I can't remember the kid's name either, but it was as he started to type it out, I appreciate all the support I've got from Mississippi State. And I'm thinking, man, I don't see how in a world of knee-jerk reactions, like how you build something. If you are starting from where they are, I don't see how you build something in a world where everyone is just knee-jerk reactions like day to day like that.
Welcome to 2024. I mean,
even if they get a good player now, I mean that player, you'd hope he stays, but I mean he might say, you know what, I want to go over to Bama, Georgia, and play for a national championship. I just think it's just hard. It's gonna be hard for them to, even when they get good players, it's gonna be hard to keep good players at this point.
Yeah, so. Well, and then as bad as I feel for Mississippi State and their efforts to rebuild, then I remember that Southern Miss is out there, and what they're, what I mean? It's like the lower you go, the tougher it gets. Apparently.
Oh,
Tulane. I get to watch Tulane some here, and they have a really good quarterback now, and freshman. And I don't know. You hope they're able to keep them, but the Oklahomas and these schools are going to be trying to get them. It's just going to be hard for them to keep players. Especially when you're not in one of the Power 4 conferences now. So that's just how college football is now. A lot of these schools are becoming like farm league teams to the big schools.
Yeah, that the coach down at Tulane is really, really good.
Really good, man. They've hit home runs on their last 2 hires. I thought Willie Fritz was really good, and he's starting to get things going in Houston now after a slow start. And Summerall he's top. He's gonna have them going in the right direction.
Yeah, they're gonna have a hard time keeping him.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, they'll have a hard time. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple more things. Ole Miss State, Southern all won handily last night. Basketball season's open. We wanted to ask you briefly about the Pelicans. I know you've covered them very closely.
Yeah. They're a lot of potential, really good on paper, but just like the the football team that plays across the street from them, they cannot stay healthy. I mean, Zion was out. He's missed the last 2 games. DeJounte Murray, who they acquired in a trade from the Hawks, broke his hand in the first game. CJ McCollum is out with an injury for about 2 or 3 weeks. Herb Jones, who was first team all defense last year, he's out with an injury. So many injuries, I can't even keep up with all of them, but they just can't stay healthy. If they ever get all 5 of these guys together, they're going to be really good. But it just hadn't happened for them. And it's just crazy how 2 sports franchises in the same city can just be hit. And I know injuries are part of the game, but the Saints had some injuries left. I know I'm switching back to the Saints, but they've had guys that to injure their hamstrings in practice. I mean, it just can't happen, man. And so, I mean, a lot of people are complaining about the training staff, and I don't know what it is, but yeah, they just have a lot of bad luck. Because the Pelicans injuries, I mean, these aren't training issues. I mean, guys, Herb Jones hurt his shoulder diving for a loose ball. I mean, they just have a lot of bad luck, and it's, if they can ever get past that, break that curse, I think the Pelicans have a chance to at least get to the second round of playoffs. They haven't even been able to do that, really.
What's wrong with Zion this time?
They had back-to-back games. It was weird because it changed from a hamstring one day to like a thigh soreness the next day. I mean, it just always you just never
never healthy.
So he didn't play last night. He didn't even come to the arena. They said that Coach Willie Green said after the game it was doctor's orders. Doctor told him to stay at home, but I mean it was a sore thigh. I mean I don't know. I'm no doctor, so I don't know, but yeah.
Well, we've got that, the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network now. So here in Central Mississippi, we're getting every Pelicans game. So I'm all in on following them. I need to watch one team that has healthy players. And I got a buddy who gives me hell all the time about the Saints, and I'm like, man, this isn't even the Saints right now. This is just like the guys that are, we're too injured to be called the Saints right now. And he says, well, every team's got injuries. And I'm like, not like this.
Not like this. Nah. Chris Olave, I wrote a column today about him, but I guess y'all saw the hit Sunday. He's laying on the field.
Is he going to have to retire, Rod? I don't
know, man. I tweeted. It was weird. I tweeted out how many concussions he's had. Mm-hmm. He had one his senior at Ohio State in 2020. He didn't have any in 2021, his rookie season here. But he's had at least one in 22, 23. And this is his second one of this season. Actually, the second in like 20 days.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 3 games in a row. He had one in the first game. Second game, he was evaluated for one, but didn't have one. Then had another one Sunday. And we talked to him last week about wearing the Guardian cap, and he's like, I'm thinking about it, but he didn't wear it. So I basically just wrote a column like, look, you probably need to at least do that if you are going to keep playing this game. And I mean, who am I to tell somebody to stop doing something they love, but at least protect yourself as much as you can. And same thing we were saying about Tua, though. I mean, you want to see these guys protect themselves. It's actually scary to watch that stuff, man. And I'm not even related to them, but imagine being a family member and you seeing somebody laying on the field, emotions like that from taking a hit.
Especially knowing what we know now.
Right.
About what that does long term. That's why I asked if he was going to have to quit, because if I was him and I had a big, I was already toting around a giant bag, I would probably hang it up.
I don't know. When you're 24 years old, though, I don't know if you think like that. And that's kind of what I mentioned in my comment. You're 24, man. You think you're pretty invincible and you think you'll be fine, but
yeah. Rod, I know too many. I'm old, and I know a lot of old football players who played a long time. I tried to talk to one on the phone last night, and I couldn't even understand what he was saying. It's a brutal game, and if somebody like him or the Dolphins court Tua, man, there's no question what they ought to do.
Right. No question about it. And again, I know it's hard to, at that age, I have to think back to when I was 24. I mean, you couldn't tell me anything, so I get it, but you just wish like maybe somebody older could say, "Look, man, I know it's fun. This is your childhood dream, but
Yeah, well, we will not get into what Michael Thomas thinks about Chris Olave's injuries and the causes, because that was a big controversy on Sunday. But Rod, we're about out of time, buddy. I really appreciate you joining us. You're always so knowledgeable on such a wide breadth of issues, especially when it comes to Mississippi and Louisiana and these sports that we cover. What you looking forward to the most going forward with this? I mean, you got a coaching search, you got the rest of the season to hang on to. You got the Pelicans fired up. What are you most excited about down there right now?
Definitely not anything really Saints related. I mean, I am curious to see like what they do with the coach. Like, which direction do they go? Do they go outside, or do they try to hang on to this Sean Payton, Drew Brees era? But I think the Pelicans, if they get healthy, I mean, that'll be something to really look forward to. And obviously, we got a college football playoff game here. I can't remember if it's I guess it's one of the semifinal games, which will probably be whoever the SEC champion is against whoever comes out of that from that side. So that's, I'm really looking forward to that as well. And obviously the Super Bowl in February. That'll be a good time. I've never been here for a Super Bowl, so.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on the host newspaper for the Super Bowl. Got every big journalist in the sports journalist in America there. You got to show out.
Yeah, we'll try to do that, and we don't have to write about the home team. It doesn't look like so.
I wouldn't worry about that.
We got to worry about that stuff.
All right, well, that's all the time we got this week. Y'all have a safe week out there, and we'll talk to you next week.